It's time for Dodger Baseball. Live from Dodger Stadium, Prime Ticket presents the Dodgers as they take on the Detroit Tigers. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant Sunday to you, wherever you may be. Dodgers back in 2005 took 2 out of 3 from Detroit. Now they've won 2 straight, trying to make it a sweep. They'll send Hiroki Kuroda to the mound with a record of 5-1. Rick Porcello will be on the mound for Detroit. He's 3-2. For the Dodgers, they remain tied with San Diego, suddenly 2.5 games in front of the slumping San Francisco Giants. The Tigers, meanwhile, remain 2 back of the Minnesota Twins. One other reminder, when the Dodgers finish up today, they'll go out on the road tomorrow, and starting Tuesday, they will play 16 consecutive games. We'll get to this ball game with a whole lot more coming up right after this.
Year, they hope to get one more and sweep the Tigers. Great pitching. Kuroda today. John Eli has been outstanding as we look at our Alexis pursuing perfection, his 3rd straight win. He just celebrated his 24th birthday last week.
Well, Eli's a smart kid. He knows that his 2 best pitches are his changeup and his breaking ball, but he doesn't overuse them. He throws that fastball in there, he keeps it off the center of the plate, and that sets up the off-speed pitch, and he's been brilliant up here.
He was telling me before the game, Brad Osmus, Jeff Weaver, veterans he's leaned on to help him in this moment. But see, there are people you lean on and you don't expect to come through. Ironically, Juan Pierre in the trade with Chicago is how the Dodgers got Eli.
Yep, I mean, every year there's some guy that steps up that you know that you're going to use most of your 40-man roster. It's not 25 guys that win you a championship. Even think of the job that Jamie Carroll and Xavier Paul have done in reserve roles, but having to be out there and playing almost every day over the last couple of weeks. They're doing a great job. Nobody knew who John Eli was 3 weeks ago. There will be someone else that shows up on this Dodger club and helps them out immensely before it's done.
And in the lineup today, Russell Martin back in there after that hitting streak was snapped. Vin Scully has the opening pitch from Hiroki Kuroda. Enjoy Dodger baseball here from Dodger Stadium.
By Shakey, who competed in 22 World Series games and won 10. Go to Shakey's.com/trivia. By AT&T, TV, high-speed internet, home phone, and wireless. Visit att.com or call 1-800-PIC-ATT for details. And by Southwest Airlines. Go to southwest.com. Grab your bag. It's on. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant Sunday afternoon to you, wherever you may be. Welcome to Dodger Stadium on a glorious afternoon. Blue skies, puffy white clouds, no threat of rain, and the prospects of another fine ball game between the Dodgers and the Detroit Tigers. The Dodgers having won each of the first two, trying for a sweep. It has been the merry month of May for the Dodgers. They have won 16 out of 20 this month, and right now, as they take the field, they're winners of 12 of the last 13. For Jim Leyland's visiting Detroit Tigers, who will leave here and go to Seattle after the game, Johnny Damon leads off in center field, Ramon Santiago at short, Maglio Ordonez in right field, and Miguel Cabrera at first base. Then you have Brennan Bosch in left field, Brandon Inge at third, Gerald Laird behind the plate, Danny Worth at second base, and Rick Porcello on the mound. On the mound for the Dodgers, Hiroki Kuroda with a record of 5-1. The 35-year-old won his fifth game against Houston, going 6 innings and making a total of 96 pitches, so he didn't have to work too hard. So Osaka will produce a lot of good ball players, and Hiroki Kuroda is one of them, and he'll go head-to-head against Rick Porcello. For the Dodgers, interleague play, last year they were 9-9. Back in 2004 was probably their best year in interleague play when they were 10-8. They still have a long way to go to get even. They have 101 wins against the American League, 110 losses. Among other things, the Dodgers will travel tomorrow to Chicago, and that will begin a stretch of 16 consecutive games without a break. It'll carry them from Chicago to Colorado and then home against Arizona, Atlanta, St. Louis, and the Angels. And then on June the 11th, after having started interleague play again with the Angels, one weekend later, the Dodgers will be playing the Boston Red Sox. Take a look now at the Dodgers with the leather behind Hiroki Kuroda, Anderson, Kemp, and Paul in the outfield. An infield of Blake and Carroll, DeWitt and Loney, and the battery of Martin and Kuroda. So Manny Ramirez takes the day off, having knocked in a run yesterday. And, of course, that's what Joe Torre said at the very start of the year. He's trying to rest these players so they have something left for the dog days of August and September. So here we go in the first inning. Johnny Damon, Ramon Santiago, and then Maglio Ordonez. Johnny Damon has been around a while, a pro since 1992. He takes the strike and the count 0-1. There were years where he had his hair down around his shoulders, but that has long since gone. And John had to be a complete surprise to a lot of people who saw him in high school. He takes a pitch low. He's 6'2", 205 pounds, and he'll be 37 in November. The reason to be surprised about Damon, he didn't hit 300 in his senior year in high school. And now he bangs one to the gap in left center. It will roll all the way to the wall. And Damon is into second base, opening up the game with a line drive double to left center. That's right. He didn't hit 300 in his senior year. Came into the big leagues with the story of a weak arm and an awkward swing. And here he is. He's building up closer and closer to 3,000 hits. He has 500 doubles, gaining on that, 100 triples, 250 home runs, 400 stolen bases. I mean, not bad at all for a guy who couldn't hit in high school. So Damon is at second base, nobody out, and Kuroda in a first inning jam now, as Ramon Santiago, the left-hand hitting shortstop at the plate, pops it up in foul ground. Martin hustling back to the base of the screen, but it's on the other side of the screen. And the count 0-1 to Ramon Santiago. The temperature today, a little on the cool side, 64 degrees, kind of like a spring day in March back in the east. So for the Tigers, they had to feel very much at home. Ramon Santiago from the Dominican Republic, switch hitter, batting .261. You can see the mountains out there standing crisp and clear in the afternoon cool. Kuroda, a look back at second, now comes back to his hitter, a drag bunt up along first. Loney is there to tag him going by, and on the bunt, Johnny Damon advances to third on certainly what will be ruled a sacrifice. So the Dodgers with a 2-game winning streak, more importantly having won 12 out of 13, and Detroit trying to snap a 2-game losing streak. They begin the day 2 games behind the Minnesota Twins, with Jim Leyland, both hands on the railing and both hands guiding a ball club. Tremendous experience. Leyland has won over 1,400 games in his career. And here's Maglio Ordonez, who fouls a pitch away, and the count 0-1. Yesterday, the Tigers got a big kick out of it. I know he did. Sparky Anderson was here. He had his picture taken with Joe Torre and with Jim Leyland. That's 5,900 managerial victories amongst those three. Here's the strike one pitch to Ordonez, and that's down and away. Maglio hitting .312, 5 home runs, 28 runs batted in. He spells his name Maggio. His father spelled it Maglio. And Mag says he gave me the extra G for good luck. He's from Venezuela, from Caracas. And the 1-1 pitch with the infield back and a runner at third. It is swung on and fouled away. 1-2 the count. Ordonez, 5 home runs, 28 runs batted in.
He has hit as many as 32 home runs, and he has knocked in as many as 139. So you can well imagine he is a favorite in Detroit after coming over from being a favorite with the White Sox. He was with the White Sox from 97 through 04. The 1-2 pitch on the way, a little low. 2-2 the count. He moved to the Tigers in 2005. So Hiroki Kuroda gives up the leadoff double to Damon. Santiago bunts him over to third. Ordonez followed by Cabrera. Kuroda out of a high set. Hiroki ready, back he comes, swung on, bounced up the middle for a base hit, and just like that, the Tigers are on the board. So Ordonez a single to center. Scoring is Damon, and it's Detroit 1 and the Dodgers nothing, with Miguel Cabrera coming up. So Ordonez a hard single up the middle, and now the really hot hitter, Miguel Cabrera, checking in at the plate. Cabrera hitting .333, 9 home runs, 38 runs batted in, hitting over .400 on the road this year. Out of a stretch goes Kuroda, down 1-0, and the slider on the outside corner for a strike, and the count 0-1. Cabrera is such a good hitter. He's hitting .333 when the pitcher is ahead in the count. 0-1 the count. Ordonez off the bag at first. Cabrera drives one to left field. A line drive into the seats for a home run. Boy, did that thing jump out of here in a hurry. So Miguel Cabrera, not just a long fly ball for a home run, not a fly ball for a home run. It was a line drive that went back in about 10 rows inside the left field foul pole. So Cabrera, it has a lot of sock. He's hit as many as 37. He's knocked in as many as 127. And as soon as he hit it, he just watched that thing jump into the stands. He got a fastball, got those arms extended, rolled it over, and hit it out. So Kuroda, before the chairs are warm, is down 3-0. And the batter now is Brennan Bosch. Bosch, the local boy from Santa Monica. Left-hand batter takes ball one as Cabrera comes in and immediately puts 3 on the board. 10th home run of the year. Kuroda right back, and Bosch a check swing foul. 1-1 the count to Brennan, who had a big day yesterday. I mean, here's a boy who grew up here, literally at Dodger Stadium. 5 years old the first time he came here, told his dad he wanted to be a big league player, and now he comes back to play while tearing it up, hitting .352. Kuroda's next pitch is low, and for Brennan, he had a big day yesterday. 2 for 5. He had a double and a home run, plus 3 runs batted in. Bosch is a big boy, 6'6", 210-pounder. The 2-1 pitch is swung on and missed, a pitch up around the letters or even higher. He went to school at the University of California. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count. Bosch waiting. Kuroda ready, and back he comes, and there's a high foul ball down the right field line, curling well back into the stands. Still 2-2. So Johnny Damon opened up with a double to the gap in left center. Santiago sacrificed him to third. Maglio Ordonez a shot up the middle for a base hit and a run batted in. And then Cabrera, a line drive home run into the left field stand. 2-2 pitch is fouled away. So the Tigers strike early. Tiger burning bright. And that's what they're doing right now. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count to Bosch. It is 3-0 Detroit, top of the first inning. Kuroda turns on the rubber, and Hiroki delivers as a shot up the middle, but that's exactly where Carroll was playing him to throw him out. And that was hit hard. So 2 down, and Kuroda having troubles now as Brandon Inge checks in at the plate. Inge, who made the last out yesterday by striking out. He had 170 strikeouts last year. He has 37 right now. He's had over 1,000 strikeouts in his career. He's approaching the Tiger franchise record for strikeouts by Lou Whitaker. Of course, every time you talk about a modern player and compare him to an old timer, it's really shocking. Charlie Gehringer played in 2,323 games for Detroit, struck out 372 times and hit .320. He's in the Hall of Fame. Inge takes low, 1-1. Inge is a very good golfer, and they say he has a 48-inch shafted long range driver. He takes a pitch up, ball 2. When he hits it just about right, he's hit the ball 390 yards. 390. The 2-1 pitch is swung on, lifted to left center, but it's playable. Matt Kemp moving over and calling, and the center fielder is the captain and makes the catch. However, the Tigers have a catch. They claw for 3, and at the end of half an inning, Tigers 3, Dodgers coming up. Stands. They did it after 12 pitches. Now let's take a look at the Dodgers and see whether they can bounce back at all. Offensively, you have Russell Martin leading off behind the plate. Xavier Paul in right field. Matt Kemp in center. James Loney at first. Casey Blake at third. Garrett Anderson in left field. Blake DeWitt at second base. Jamie Carroll at short. Hiroki Kuroda on the mound. On the mound for Detroit, Rick Porcello out of New Jersey went to Seton Hall Prep. That's in West Orange. And he'll be facing Russell Martin. And Rick's first pitch, good sinker in for a strike, and the count 0-1. With that sinker of his, he comes in tied for third in the American League, getting double plays. The next sinker misses, 1 ball and 1 strike. He is, as you imagine, third in ground outs to air because of the sinker. The 1-1 pitch, Martin hits one into center field that sinks for a base hit as the Dodgers try to come back. So Martin, who had his streak snapped yesterday, picks up where he left off. Here are the Tigers defensively with Bosch and Damon and Ordonez in the outfield. In Santiago, Worth and Cabrera, and the battery of Laird handling Porcello. So Xavier Paul coming up. Martin standing at first, bottom of the first inning. Hiroki Kuroda made 23 pitches in the first inning, but the 12th pitch was hit by Cabrera to make it a 3-0 Tiger lead. Porcello delivers and sinks it for a strike. Rick is a big kid, 6'5", 200. 21 years old, 2 days after Christmas. 0-1 the count. We mentioned he went to Seton Hall Prep. If you remember Chuck Connors, the rifleman, a very successful Westerner who played in the Dodger organization, foul ball at the plate, and it's 0-2. Chuck went to Seton Hall. So the prep school was getting Porcello ready, I'm sure, to move on, but instead he moved on to be a big league pitcher. He was a Tiger #1 draft back in 2007. He was an A student. Turned down an offer to play for the University of North Carolina. So the right-hander set, and the strike 2 pitch on the way, swung on and missed, and that does it for Xavier Paul. 1 away, and the batter will be Matt Kemp. Last year, by the way, Porcello pitching for Detroit against the National League was 3-0 with an earned run average of 1.9. And remember, he had only 1 year in the minors at Lakeland. Came up to the Tigers last year, and he's a main part of their rotation this year. So Matt Kemp at the plate, and he shies away. A pitch low and inside, ball 1. Matt hitting .286, 9 home runs, 26 runs batted in. Couple of notes about Porcello because we're not going to see him again. Yeah, Martin at first, and Kemp takes low, ball 2. When Rick Porcello won 4 straight starts while allowing 1 or fewer runs before turning 21, he joined quite an exclusive club. I mean, his name is there with Christy Mathewson, Chief Bender, Walter Johnson, Kerry Wood, and Fernando Valenzuela. So Rick Porcello, Porcello. 2-1 the count to Matt Kemp. On deck, James Loney. And Porcello, I think, dropped the ball, and a balk is called. So down to second goes Martin, and here comes Leland out to appeal. He'll talk to the first base umpire, Paul Nauert. He was standing on the rubber and just dropped the ball, and I think that's all Leland wanted to know. Where was he when he dropped it? And he had assumed the role of the pitcher. So for young Porcello, a little bit of an embarrassment. That's a rare balk when you see the pitcher drop the ball. So Martin is at second base with 1 out. 2-1 the count to Matt Kemp. 3-0 Detroit, first inning. The next pitch is on the inside corner, sinker at the knees, 2-2 the count. When you talk to Jim Leland about Porcello, he talks about a very good sinker when it's down. He said you throw high sinkers in the big leagues and you just get smoked. Here's the 2-2 pitch, a line drive caught by Porcello. He just lobs the ball to Danny Worth, and they have the double play. Wow, a bullet right into his glove. So Kemp hadn't hit it much harder. He appears stunned as he walks away still holding the bat. It was a sinker, all right. It found its way into Porcello's Tigers. If you're watching television, you'll see a picture of Jose Lima, and you will see that this year's date marks the end of his life. All of us here at Dodger Stadium came to work shocked and saddened over the untimely passing of Jose Lima last night. Meanwhile, Cairo Laird a long fly ball to left, and on the track to make the catch is Garrett Anderson. Always very awkward to pick a time to talk about the untimely death of a young player, and you get a first ball hitter, so we apologize for that. Anyway, Jose Lima, 37 years old, was here Friday night. He was saluted by the crowd. He took his cap off, and we were thrilled to see him. It was always Lima time. Jose shut out the Cardinals in a dramatic 2004 championship game. Won 20 games for Houston. He had a great career, but to lose him at the age of 37 was a shock indeed. The 1-0 pitch on the way to Danny Worth. Ground ball to the hole by the diving DeWitt into right field. Base hit. Well, as a little boy, I always heard that death would come like a thief in the night. And for Jose Lima, he passed away in his sleep last night. He will be sorely missed, not just for his ability to play baseball. He was fun to be around. He lightened the mood. He made the moment so much nicer. But as we are all taught, no matter the age, in this particular case, it was Lima's time. A bunt back to Kuroda. He gets it down to retire Porcello. Worth advances to second. And the batter is Johnny Damon.
Center fielder.
Damon led off the game with a double to left center. Tigers 3, Dodgers nothing. Damon with Santiago on deck, and Kuroda has not really fooled anybody. All the balls hit very hard. Hiroki out of a set, just about at the letters, really looking back at Worth, and then works a strike on the inside corner. Little slider that seemed to break at the very last minute. 0-1 the count. Dodgers and San Diego tied for first place in the West. Giants 2.5 games back now. Strike one pitch on the way, and Kuroda delivers, and that's popped in the air back at third. Blake angling down inside the line, makes the catch for the out. Casey, who made a great play yesterday, comes up with a dandy today. No runs to hit, a man left, and at the end of an inning and a half, 3-0 Tigers. favor of Detroit. James Loney followed by Casey Blake, and then Garrett Anderson against Rick Porcello. Porcello won 14 games last year, 14-9. Rather remarkable. Loney hits a ground ball to Danny Worth, and he's done immediately. One pitch and one away. After just 1 year in the minor leagues, the Florida State League, he came up and won 14. However, when you make that jump and you look very closely at his work, you realize there were indications that he's going to be brought back to earth. Last year, his strikeout to walk ratio was the third worst in the American League. As far as balls put in play, there's another category, and his pitch to Blake is high, ball one. His batting average on balls in play, sixth worst in the league. So if you are really remarkable, as he is, you make the jump, but you also find out it struggled more so than just a 14-9 record would indicate. 1 ball and 1 strike to Casey Blake. Had another good day yesterday with the bat, but maybe saved the Dodgers bacon with the glove. On a ball hit to his left yesterday, a diving stop to turn it into a force play, and the Dodgers wound up hanging on to win. Casey hitting .273, half a dozen home runs, 25 runs batted in, and he has really perked up with the bat the last 4 games. Hits one foul off to the right and out of play. With his rash of base hits, this homestand, from a dark and gloomy stand to a bright and sunny one, hitting .478 on the homestand, swings and fouls this one away. As he stands at the plate, he's 11 for 23, 3 home runs, 6 RBIs. For over 2 previous weeks, he was hitting .138. 1-2 the count. 3-0 Detroit. Second inning, the pitch down and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes. In his career, and remember, he spent a lot of time in the American League, he has more home runs against the Tigers than against any other team. And when someone mentioned that he gave Detroit a bad day yesterday, Jim Leyland said, yeah, he did that when he was with Cleveland. 3-2 the count to Casey Blake. Porcello ready, and the full count pitch is beaten foul behind the plate. Talking about the meeting of the 3 managers yesterday, Joe Torre, 2,270 wins. Sparky Anderson, 2,194 wins. 1,436 wins for Jim Leyland. 3-2 pitch is a sinker that misses for ball 4. If you add them all up, 5,900 victories, and there they were, Sparky in the middle. Not only great managers, but wonderful people to deal with. Good, bad, win, lose. They do a great job with the media, with anyone who has to rely on their expertise. They're never found wanting. Now Garrett Anderson with a runner at first, 1 out, second inning, 3-0 Detroit. Porcello hands at his sides. Now a quick throw to first. Blake back on the bag. Porcello was an A student at prep school. Rick ready and delivers, and Garrett takes sinker low, ball 1, 1-0. Rick's grandfather, Sam Denty, played for the Cleveland Indians in 1954. That was the World Series where Cleveland was so heavily favored, and the New York Giants beat them 4 straight. Now the 1-1 pitch is hit down to first base to Cabrera, and they turn the double play on Garrett Anderson. 3-6-3, no runs, no hits, nobody left. And at the end of 2, Tigers 3, Dodgers nothing. Ramon Santiago leads off the third. The shortstop, a switch hitter batting left-handed, takes a strike, and the count 0-1. 3-0 Tigers. Kuroda's next pitch grounded to the right side to DeWitt, and Blake makes the play, 1 away. So Hiroki in 12 pitches gave up 3 runs, and the Dodgers yet to recover. You know, you can bring the kids to Dodger Stadium Monday, May 31st, the Dodgers and D-backs. Their first 15,000 children 14 and under receive a Manny Ramirez batting practice jersey, compliments of Cacique. For tickets, call 866-DODGERS or visit Dodgers.com. The first pitch to Ordonez on the corner for a strike. Maglio singles sharply to center to drive in Johnny Damon, and then Cabrera hit a bullet into the left field stand, and just like that, it was 3-0 Detroit. So Ordonez, right-hand hitter, batting .316 with 5 home runs, 29 runs batted in. He lifts one into shallow right field. DeWitt goes out, makes an over-the-shoulder sit-down basket catch. How about that one? Willie Mays caught plenty of them over the shoulder in the basket, but I don't ever remember Willie sitting down to do it. And Blake DeWitt makes a wonderful play, taking a base hit away from Ordonez. Pop fly, shallow right field. And now the batter is Miguel Cabrera. So a fine glove play by DeWitt, hustling as always. Cabrera, big swing and a miss, and the count 0-1. Hitting .337. He has 10 home runs, 40 runs batted in. He had 34 home runs and 103 RBIs last year. Takes outside. 1-1 the count. It seems, in looking at Cabrera's performance this year, he gets better against the starting pitcher as the game progresses. They've broken it down. He hits .313 in his first at-bat, .351 in the second appearance, and the third time he looks at the starter, if he's still in there, he's hitting .389. And he grounds one wide at third. Nice hop for Blake. Casey throws low, pulls Loney off the bag. Loney had to lean towards the 45-foot lane and came off the bag trying to make the catch. So Casey looked like he had the play all the way and throws it away. So on the error charge to Casey Blake, Cabrera safely aboard, and that will bring up the pride of Santa Monica. Loney thought that he kept his toe on it, but it pulled him off towards home plate. And while in the dirt, he got the bad news. So Cabrera at first, held on by Loney. And here is Brennan Boesch. And he takes a pitch up and in, ball 1, 1-0 to Brennan. Brennan Boesch started off this year on a sour note in the Tigers' first exhibition game of the year. He was hit in the face by a fly ball. He had to take 11 stitches in the face. But he's young and he's big and he's tough. One ball and no strikes. He's been struggling, interestingly enough, when the count is his way. The 1-0 pitch is swung on and fouled away, 1-1. And over in the American League, Brennan Boesch is doing exceptionally well against relief pitchers. He was hitting better than .500 against them. And like Cabrera, if he faces the same pitcher 3 times, his average increases. 238 up to 350 up to 412 if the starter is still in there. The 1-1 pitch on the way to the big left-hand hitter, and Brennan swings, pops it foul behind the plate, over the screen, and back into the crowd. Brennan 6'6", 210, left-handed all the way, went to Cal and Berkeley. Brennan backs out for the moment. Now gets back in again. 1-2 the count. Kuroda very careful. Looks over at Cabrera. Now comes back to Bosch, who grounds one up along first, foul. And the count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. So back to first base goes Cabrera with 2 out. And Bosch waiting. A lot of people, when they first saw him, said that he reminds them of Sean Green. 1-2. Takes one in the dirt. 2-2 the count. Again, if you joined us late, Johnny Damon opened up with a double to left center, sacrificed to third by Santiago. Ordonez single sharply to center for a run. Cabrera hit a line drive home run to left, and just like that, on 12 pitches, the Tigers led 3-0. Kuroda has settled down since, and has just gotten a fine play by Blake DeWitt. Kuroda set, and the 2-2 pitch coming up. There goes the runner, and the pitch is fouled at the plate. So Jim Leyland running Cabrera. Cabrera is not a base stealing threat. He has 1 stolen base, but he's been caught twice. Once again, the battle continues. The infield swung way around to first. Carroll is not behind the bag, but he's way over, and DeWitt's on the grass. 2-2 pitch, and the left-hand hitter pulls it foul outside of first and down the line. So Brennan's still there. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, and the Tigers lead 3-0 in the 3rd inning. In the minor leagues, in the Eastern League, in 2009, Bosch had 28 home runs, 93 runs batted in. He has a slight mechanical uppercut to the ball. Kuroda looks over at Cabrera. Now Hiroki set. There goes Cabrera. The pitch is low. Martin's throw is high, and that's that. It's a stolen base for Cabrera. Russell's throw really took off in the air. Carroll had to cover, tried to pull it down, but Cabrera steals his second base. Cabrera, as we mentioned, is not a base stealer, so he's always going on a hit and run play. Last year he had 6 stolen bases, 1 the year before that, 2 the year before that. So now he has 2 stolen bases this year, and a 3-2 count to Brennan Bosch with Brandon Inge on deck. Kuroda ready, and the 3-2 pitch is swung on and missed, and down goes Bosch. So with all of that, the Tigers wind up leaving a man at third. No runs, no hit, an error, a man left. The end of 2.5, 3-0 Detroit. 3-0 as we go to the bottom of the third. It'll be Blake DeWitt, Jamie Carroll, and Hiroki Kuroda. And DeWitt takes off the plate, ball one. For Blake DeWitt made that dazzling catch of the ball hit by Ordonez. He has a 5-game hitting streak and takes a strike. And that balances the books. 1 ball and 1 strike. Porcello looks down to get a sign. Rick ready in the 1-1 pitch, and that's low, ball 2, 2-1. Now the 2-1 pitch on the way is hit to second baseman Danny Worth. Plenty of time to throw out DeWitt, and we have 1 down in the third inning. So far, Porcello is doing what the advanced scouting said he would do, throwing a lot of sinkers, getting a lot of ground balls. He got a line drive double play. That was the ball hit by Kemp that found its way into Rick's glove. He didn't catch it. It was hit so hard, it took less than a second to go from bat to glove. But he did get the ground ball double play on Garrett Anderson. Now Jamie Carroll takes his strike. Jamie hitting .273, 10 RBIs. And of course, looking at Carroll play, you immediately wonder about Rafael Furcal. And Joe Torre said Furcal is fine. We're going to wait until Tuesday to activate him. Let him have a couple of more days. It'll give us a chance to decide what we're going to do, because somebody has to leave the club to make room for Rafael. So they expect Tuesday in Chicago. Strike 2 pitch is fouled away by Jamie Carroll, with Kuroda waiting on deck. By the way, while we think of it, we certainly want to send along our warmest wishes for a speedy recovery to Billy Hunter, the vice president of ticket operations for the Dodgers, proud possessor of a new hip. Billy doing well, and he'll be back with us soon, I hope. Thinking of you, Bill. 1 ball and 2 strikes the count to Jamie Carroll, and that's high. So 2-2 the count. Rick Porcello, quite a young player, National High School Player of the Year. Broken bat ground ball to short. Santiago takes care of that. So we have 2 down in the third inning. And Kuroda coming up. You know, Tuesday, June 8th, Jonathan Broxton Bobblehead Night, presented by Kaiser Permanente. And the first 50,000 fans in attendance to see the Dodgers and Cardinals will take home their very own Little Big John. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com or call 866-DODGERS today. Kuroda takes ball 1, 1-0 the count. Porcello comes right back and misses low and inside. 2 balls and no strikes. Kuroda, not a hitter, backs off, takes a strike, and the count 2-1. Hiroki has had 17 at-bats. He has struck out 8 times. He is 0-4 in a minute as he takes another strike. 2-2. 3-0 Detroit. 2 out, bottom of the third. Porcello's sinker is low, ball 3. Porcello comes back 3-2, and a sinker on the outside corner. Down goes Kuroda. He's now 0 for 18. Porcello picks up a strikeout, his second, and at the end of 3, it is 3-0 Detroit.
choice is CarMax. By Toyota, get a great deal on Toyota's full line of hybrid and fuel-efficient vehicles at your Toyota dealers today. And by Corona. Fourth inning, 3-0 in favor of Detroit. They did it on a double by Damon, a single by Ordonez, and a home run by Cabrera, all within 12 pitches in the first inning. So we're now in the fourth. Brad Inge coming up. Earlier we mentioned about Brad with that 48-inch driver that he's hit the ball 380 and 390, the golf ball. That's ball one. He can also throw a baseball 100 yards. Remember the big left-hander Steve Avery? There's the 1-0 pitch. 1-1. Avery would stand at one end of Ford Field underneath the goalposts. Brandon would stand at the other end. They would try to throw the ball through the rafters. Ford Field is indoors, and over the goalposts. And they did it. But there's a lot of remarkable things about Inge. He is 5'11", 195, and he can dunk a basketball. He also high jumped 6 feet 6 inches. But in baseball, you got to hit the breaking ball, and the slider wraps him up. So Inge walks back empty-handed, one away in the fourth, and that would be the third strikeout for Hiroki Kuroda. Gerald Laird coming up. Laird has been in the major leagues over 4 years now. Takes a strike. One tough thing about him, his average has progressed downwardly over the years. He hits a little flare and Loney will grab it. So Laird, little pop fly to James Loney, and we have 2 down in the fourth inning. Bases empty, and Danny Worth coming up. So Kuroda has settled down. He's allowed 1 single since the first inning home run by Cabrera. 3-0 Tigers in the fourth. Danny Worth, local boy born in Northridge, went to Pepperdine and bangs it up the middle for a 2-out single. So Danny Worth is worth it. He's 2 for 2 as he singles to center. And that will bring up Rick Porcello. Not much to talk about an American League pitcher as to whether he can hit or not. Porcello looks like a hitter. 0-1 the count. Never mind if he can't hit. Looking back through the notes, the bonus that he signed for coming out of prep school was over $7 million. 0-2 the count. That matched the guaranteed money that Josh Beckett got. Just off the plate, ball one. 1-2. Rick Porcello. Great story. Born in 1989, and he was pitching in the big leagues last year. And Kuroda missing with sliders and a 2-2 count. Two out, fourth inning, 3-0 Detroit.
And a big bouncer foul down the line. So he pulled a 90-mile-an-hour fastball from Hiroki Kuroda. Back to first base goes Danny Wirth. 2-2 to Rick. One breaking ball after another. Kuroda is walking off on strike 3. Check swing, and Porcello strikes out. That would be strikeout number 4 for Hiroki Kuroda. And at the end of 3.5, 3-0 Tigers. Well, Rick Porcello, you can just imagine, 1 year in the minor leagues, 20 years old, and he's pitching in the big leagues last year. So any rookie would be prone to jokes. And they pulled a prank on him that was pretty good. One day, when the Tigers were home, he had an official-looking letter which he opened up. It was from the commissioner's office, saying he was wearing something that he should not be wearing. Ball 1 to Martin. It was a T-shirt that Major League Baseball did not authorize to be worn. Well, Porcello didn't know anything about it. Ball 2. But there was a bottom paragraph at the end of the letter, and the commissioner supposedly was fining him $10,000 for wearing that T-shirt. And he went for it, fouled away. So here was this young kid who sure had signed for a lot of money, but being fined $10,000 for a T-shirt. And most of the players, they just kind of yawned, and one or two said, well, you better pay for it. Well, something wasn't right. Finally, they all broke up laughing, and he calmed down, but that would be a lot of money. A $10,000 fine for a T-shirt. That's a strike to Martin. 3-1 the count. Of course, that's as part of the game as anything else. Rick Porcello. The 3-2 pitch to Martin is a little flare to shortstop. Backing up to handle it is Santiago. So Martin loops to short. 1 away. And the batter will be Xavier Paul. Paul has struck out in the first inning. Another theory that Porcello has, and no one will argue, but he feels that pitching is a little bit like fishing. And he apparently is a huge fly fisherman. The first pitch fouled away, and of course now, to use the old Sandlot expression, he's trying to make the hitters fish. But as he said, it's like a chess match. With fish, it's what you're going to use that day, what kind of fly to catch him. With hitters, it's what they're looking to do, where I need to locate my pitch. Well, he locates one that Xavier Paul singles into center. That is only hit number 2 against Porcello. And the batter now, Matt Kemp. Now, Matt Kemp had a hellacious at-bat in the first inning. He hit a vicious line drive that was not caught by Porcello. It was hit too hard and too fast to be caught. The line drive caught Porcello's glove. Throw to first. Xavier Paul back as Cabrera does a little bit of a somersault over him. We can show you that line drive, but don't blink. Right there. Wow. 1-0 the count. Porcello, fastball, power slider, runner going, and it's fouled away. So the Dodgers try to move Xavier Paul. Matt Kemp fouls it off. 1 ball and 1 strike the count. One and 1 the count. Throw to first, and they're just keeping an eye on Paul. It was August last year when Rick won his 11th game before his 21st birthday. Xavier Paul inching away, 1 and 1 the count. Another throw, pretty close. Porcello tied Dave Rozema for the most wins in a season by a Tiger pitcher under the age of 21. If I remember correctly, Dave Rozema's wife's sister married Kirk Gibson. I think there's a connection there. 2 and 1 the count to Matt Kemp. First time I saw Porcello, which is about an hour ago, I had the feeling I was looking at another Jim Palmer of the old Baltimore Orioles, who's in the Hall of Fame. And that's probably stroking to left center, base hit. Damon up with it, Paul round second just to draw a throw, and goes back to the bag. You round it, you make the outfielder throw, you never know. Bad hop, hurry throw, you got something extra. But Damon threw a one-hopper right to the end. So now 2 on, 1 out, and James Loney, first ball hitter, grounded out in the second inning. So the Dodgers with 3 hits, 2 of them back to back here, and here is Loney. Loney in the last couple of years, even though he's basically a singles hitter, has piled up the runs batted in. No hitter has driven in more runs on singles than James Loney since '08. That includes, among others, Joe Mauer and Maglio Ordonez. Loney 81. Strike. 1 and 1. Tigers got 3 in the first. Porcello is trying to hold on to him, and it's 3-0 Detroit. Bottom of the 4th. On deck, Casey Blake. Sinker down, 2 and 1 the count. Last year, left-handers hit .281 against Porcello with 13 home runs. Right-handers hit .248 with 10 home runs. Fouled away. Dodgers down 3-0, but with 1 out, Paul single to center, Kemp singles to center. And here's Loney working on a 2-2 count. Porcello, in case you're thinking about it, has allowed 3 home runs this year. And Loney, a line drive at Porcello, who makes the play at second, throws to first, not in time. Whoa! That is the second time Rick Porcello, a sinker ball pitcher, was almost sunk. Matt Kemp almost took his arm off with a shot in the first inning, and Loney almost cut him in half. And to his credit, he went after that ball and got the force play. It struck him on the right arm. Jim Leland out, and he will certainly let Rick throw 1 or 2 of the plate. Boy, was that thing launched. So it's a force play the hard way, 1-4. Taking third is Xavier Paul. Kemp is forced at the plate on the play, and Porcello apparently is okay. Jim Leland holding his breath twice today. Started out to be a nice day for the manager. One of his sons graduated high school today. So first and third, 2 out. Porcello obviously no worse for the wear, but boy, that's 2 shots. Now the batter, Casey Blake. Laird out in front of home plate, keeping everybody in the ballpark. 2 out, first and third. Tigers lead 3-0. Casey Blake walked in the second inning. Casey is hitting 5 of his last 6. Ball 1. Laird watching his delivery, I'm sure. Make sure that arm slot has not changed after being hit by that ball. 1-0. Dropped in nicely. Kind of an off-speed, a curveball. Porcello has 4 wild pitches. Combination of being very young and being a sinker ball pitcher. So Paul at third, Loney at first, 2 out. 1-1 to Casey Blake. Drops that in again. Strike 1 and 2. So back-to-back curveballs after you see a lot of those hard sinkers. Three runs, 5 hits for the Tigers, no runs, 3 hits for the Dodgers. Hopper to third, almost a bad hop, is a bad hop. In stays with it and throws him out. Brandon Inge is quite a story over there at third base. Last year, he played on 2 very bad knees, and yet Tigers, you're looking at Brandon Inns. We don't want to interfere with Johnny Damon's at bat, but we certainly admire him a great deal, and we'll tell you why. Damon has doubled and popped up 1-4-2. Pitch outside, just missing, 1 ball and no strikes. Inns, as we mentioned last year, had knee surgery on knees that really required surgery, and yet he played day after day, grinding it out at third. And then Friday night, Manny Ramirez came up with Inns playing as usual at third base. And Manny, in the words of Larry Boa, hit the hardest ground ball he had ever seen hit at a third baseman. Look at this. Now, this shot hit Inns on the right leg and carried into left field. Inns not only continued playing, never even went to the trainer. And on his right leg, you can see the stitches of the ball that Manny hit. Damon grounds out, 1 away. I do remember when that ball was hit, I had the thought, oh my gosh, am I glad we're not playing on AstroTurf. That's how hard that ball was hit. But he's just one of these guys who, he's just tough. That's the shot again. Amazing. Another thing he does is with a fungo bat. You know what a fungo bat is. It looks just like the regular bat, but it's a lot thinner. Inns, when he was playing in the Cape Cod League, would always, after hitting ground balls, they'd ask him to hit pop flies to the catcher, which is really tough to do. Santiago hurt a foot, so timeout for the moment. 0-2 the count. So when the infield was over in Cape Cod play, Brad Inns would then hit those pop-ups. So when the Tigers are on the road, he has hit the roof of the Metrodome with a fungo bat. He has hit the roof of Tropicana. He also hit the roof, hitting a fungo straight up, and hit the roof at Chase Field over in Arizona. That is some poke. So anyway, just a couple of footnotes on Brandon Inns, and you don't see him very often. 1-2 the count to Ramon Santiago with Maglio Ordonez on deck. Way inside, 2-2. Santiago sacrificed and grounded out. Kuroda settling down after that burst of runs, 3 in the first inning on 12 pitches. Straightens him up again. 3-2 to Ramon Santiago. Hiroki with a record of 5-1. Hard ground ball, base hit into right field. So Santiago hangs tough, hurts his foot, stays in, singles to right. And with 1 out, that'll bring up Maglio Ordonez. Okay, we talked about Sparky Anderson being here yesterday. He's one of 2 managers ever to win a World Series in both leagues. Who is the other? Give you the answer in a little while. Ordonez singled and then hit that little pop fly into right field. Blake DeWitt, running out, made an over-the-shoulder catch as he was sitting down on the grass. Ordonez finished up last year without a doubt the hottest hitter. Hard ground ball to Blake. Nice pick. They get 1. DeWitt turns it for 2. So Casey made that look easy. 5-4-3 double play. And at the end of 4.5, still 3-0 Tigers. And Rick Porcello went out to the mound, and then the next thing you know, he walked off the mound. All of the umpires gathered, especially the plate umpire. I'm not sure if they're finding fault with his glove. Let's take a look. First, they looked at the right arm and hand. Maybe, he throws a lot of sinkers. Maybe somebody was complaining that he was doctoring the ball. I mean, I'm just sitting up here guessing. And whatever happened, everyone agrees it's okay. And Rick goes back to work. He has allowed 3 hits, no runs. He has allowed 1 Dodger to get to third base. So Anderson, DeWitt, and Carroll. Strike. Porcello getting a lot of double plays last year and this. And after a 1-out walk to Blake, he induced Anderson to ground into a double play. 1 ball and 1 strike. Tigers 3 runs, 6 hits. Dodgers no runs, 3 hits. Bottom of the 5th. And hit in the air, foul down the line, well back into the crowd. Somewhere around 35 to 40,000, I think. Dodgers leave town tomorrow. They head for Wrigley Field, Chicago, and then Denver. Ground ball, big hop. Cabrera stays with it. That'll do it for Garrett Anderson. 1 away. Certainly one of the Hyundai keys to the game involves Rick Porcello on comebackers. The line drive by Matt Kemp that found Porcello's glove turned into a double play. And then the comebacker that almost cut him in half, and he was able to get a force play to throw to first not in time. So Rick, as a sinker ball pitcher, you have to get very accustomed to comebackers, a lot of ground balls. And what's interesting, both hard hit, and he's made plays on both of them. 0-1 to Blake DeWitt. Grounded out, 0 for 1. Two and 1. Slider down at the shoe tops. And that's another one hit off his body, and this one's a base hit. That is the 3rd time that the Dodgers have hit a line drive back at Porcello. And he is okay. Bloody but unbound. That got him on the right thigh. So DeWitt now has hit safely in 6 in a row. And Laird gone out asking Porcello, maybe you ought to take that target off your shirt. So that's hit number 4. And Jamie Carroll coming up. And Brandon Inge over there at third base probably saying, would you want to match impressions? Inge has one on his right leg from Friday night. Take another look at this. Going to get it off the right leg right there. So the batter, Jamie Carroll. And of course, let's face it, if you're Hiroki Kuroda and you're standing in the on-deck circle, you've been watching the game from the dugout when the Dodgers are hitting, and you've seen a line drive back at Porcello's glove. You saw a hard one go off Porcello's right arm. Now you see one go off his thigh, and Kuroda no doubt thinking, oh yes, I have been there. And then some. One and 0 the count. Two and 0. 3 runs, 6 hits for the Tigers, no runs, 4 hits for the Dodgers. Dodgers have been shut out 5 times this year. 2-1. Fastball at 92 up, and Jamie looked like he was going to try to hit it into right field. 2-1. And the sinker missed, ball 3. At first base, Blake DeWitt, 1 out. 3-1 to count to Jamie Carroll. And he slices one into right field for a base hit. DeWitt will hold and then keep going, and the ball is bobbled and then thrown too late, and Ordonez will draw the error. So Maglio Ordonez wanted to come up and make a throw. Instead, he commits his second error. And the Dodgers have first and third, 1 out, and what you would expect would be a bunt situation as far as Kuroda is concerned. A backhanded effort and then dropped by Ordonez in right field. So DeWitt had stopped at second, advances to third on the error. And here's Kuroda showing bunt and takes ball 1. Dodgers down 3-0 for the second time in 5 innings. They have a runner at third base. Kuroda checking with Boa. He has 4 sacrifices, so he's pretty handy with the bat in that area. And got it down. Good bunt. Bobbled, recovered, and the out to the second baseman, Danny Wirth. So Kuroda comes up with his 5th sacrifice. The play going 1-4. Carroll to second, and the Dodgers now second and third, 2 out, and Russell Martin coming up. 75 pitches turned in by Rick Porcello. Russell Martin singled to center and moved to second base on a rare balk. That's when Porcello, standing on the mound, just happened to drop the ball. Ball 1. Hitting behind Martin, Xavier Paul. Martin hitting .265. Russ with 4 home runs, 12 runs batted in. 1-0. That's a strike. Porcello came into the game with an earned run average of just about 6. 1-1. Missed. Ball 2. 2-1. Porcello has worked 7 innings in each of his last 2 starts. First time that's happened to him in his young career. 2-1. Ball 3. So now he's 1 pitch away from loading him up with 2 out, and Xavier Paul on deck. He has walked 1. That was Casey Blake in the second inning. So a big pitch, 3-1 to Martin. And ball 4. I'm not really sure he wanted much of Martin, trying to use the rookie Xavier Paul as an escape hatch. So he's allowed 5 hits, walked 2, and now Tim Leland is going out to talk to the plate umpire. So let's see. Now here comes the pitching coach. I think perhaps they want to make sure. Remember when everybody gathered around Porcello? Well, I figure Jim Leyland is saying, I want to make sure that was not some official visit to the mound, because then if my pitching coach goes out, I'm obligated to take the pitcher out of the game. And the plate umpire assured him no. And so Rick Knapp went out there. And here is Xavier Paul, a big at-bat for the newcomer. The bases loaded, 2 out, 3-0 Detroit. Ball 1. Paul struck out in the first inning, single to center in the 4th. The Dodgers have DeWitt at 3rd, Carroll at 2nd, and Martin at 1st. 2 away. And remember, Porcello with 4 wild pitches. And that's going to go into left field, base hit. Here comes DeWitt. Here comes Carroll, stopping at 2nd. Martin, it is 3-2 Detroit. So the Dodgers certainly right back in the game on that line drive single to left by Xavier Paul. And now Matt Kemp coming up with 2 on and 2 out. Tigers 3, Dodgers 2. For Xavier Paul, who appears to be more impressive every game, he now has 5 runs batted in and takes a strike. Does Matt Kemp, 0-1. 3 runs, 6 hits for Detroit. 2 runs, 6 hits for the Dodgers. Kemp has lined out and singled. And a drive to center. Back goes Damon, and he will make the catch on the track. Matt just missed hitting that thing out. So the Dodgers scrambled for 2, 3 hits, a walk, and an error. And at the end of 5. Sean Green had himself a major day. He had gone almost 4 weeks without a home run. But on this day in Milwaukee, he went 6 for 6. 4 home runs and a double and a single, a total of 19 bases that memorable afternoon against the Brewers. Let's go back to this one. That's a strike, 0-1 to Miguel Cabrera, who hit a 2-run home run and reached on a throwing error by Casey Blake. Fouled away, 0-2. Here's that line drive, a Polaris missile looked a lot like that. I mean, he hit it and looked, and it was in the seats. So Cabrera with 10 home runs, 40 runs batted in. We mentioned it the other night. He has turned his life around, and we're very happy for him on that. He had trouble with alcohol. He had family, personal problems. But he has turned it around, and it's certainly been reflected in his play. Last year, 34 home runs. The year before, 37. He thought the pitch was low and off the plate. Tony Randazzo says strike, and Cabrera goes back into the dugout. One away. 3-2 in favor of the Tigers, and here's Bose. Brennan takes ball one. Check swing. One away. 6th inning. 3-2 Tigers. Ground foul, and he'll have to check the bat. It's cracked, and get another. Well, if he's going to remind people of Shawn Green, Brennan could do well to read about Green's day 8 years ago today. One ball and one strike. One and two. Both from Santa Monica, went to the University of California at Berkeley. 6'6", 210. Two and two. Hiroki Kuroda gave up 3 runs in the first inning on the first 12 pitches that he made, but he settled down since. Ball 3. He had made 70 pitches through 5, but he made 23 in the very first inning. 3 and 2. And you lost him. That for Hiroki is a walk, and of course for Kuroda, when he walks a man, he thinks of it as a sin. He walked 14 batters this year. He walked 24 the entire season last year. So Bosch at first, and here's Brandon Inge. So many different things to tell you about Brandon Inge. We told you about throwing a baseball, hitting a golf ball. That's ball 1. And he can dunk. How about this one? He can take off his right shoe. He sets a football on the right shoe, sets it on the 50-yard line, and kicks it through the uprights barefoot. He can do that. Big chopper foul ball, no play. So Brandon will come back and try it again. So I guess we've told you all about the prowess of Inge. Hitting a golf ball, throwing a baseball, can dunk a basketball, high jump, 6'6". Kick a 60-yard field goal, and take a fungo bat and hit the roof of Chase Field in Arizona. I mean, he's a one-man band, isn't he? Brandon Inge, born in Lynchburg, Virginia, and lives in Salem, South Carolina. 1-1. Little ground ball going back to get it. Carroll to DeWitt. No further play. I don't think DeWitt had real good grip of that ball, so he opted wisely so to just take the force. 2 out in the 6th inning, and Gerald Laird coming up. Here's the play for 1, and then it's kind of spinning around. Yep, look at there. No way to throw that ball. The old hot potato. So we'll see just how important that is. It lets Laird come up. Laird was a first-team All-American at La Quinta High School. Gerald's from Westminster, but he lives over in Arizona now. He was a second-round pick by the A's back in 1998. Grew up in Garden Grove. And a strike. In his senior year at La Quinta High School, he hit .635. He broke Eric Chavez's record. And he was the first California high school player with over 200 hits. 0-1. 0-2. Laird 6'1", 225, 31 years old. Big enough, and yet he wears down, at least his numbers tell you that. In his career, he hits .293 in June, .200 in August. 1-2. 6'1", 225, and the game will wear even a big man like that down. One and two. 2-2. Two out, 2-2 to Gerald Laird. Inge at first. 3-2 Detroit. When Laird joined Texas, they wanted him to report to Toronto, Canada for a big Texas series, but he didn't have his birth certificate or his passport. His mom had to hop a red eye to Dallas, hand deliver the birth certificate. He got on the plane. She flew back to California, and he flew to Toronto to make his major league debut. 2-2. Foul back. One time when he was a little kid, he wanted a dog, and he was playing a little league game. And his father said, "You'll get the dog if you get 3 hits, otherwise no." But he got 4 hits, 2 home runs, got the dog. And strikes out as well. No runs, no hits, a walk and a man left. And at the end of 5.5 innings, 3-2 Detroit. hit by Maglio Ordonez over the shoulder while sitting down. Nice play indeed. An applause from Hiroki Kuroda. The freeze cam caught him. Dodgers now trying to at least tie it up. The breeze blowing from right to left. And Blett going down into the dugout, and Loney takes ball one. Loney is grounded out, hit into a force play, 0-4-2. Fouled away, 1-1. Porcello, coming into this inning, had made 84 pitches, but interesting, he has fallen behind 1 ball and no strikes to 14 of the 22 hitters. Little ground ball to short. Boy, winding up to make the throw is Santiago. 1 down. You know, every kid who is a baseball fan has pretended to be a major league broadcaster, and the Junior Dodgers broadcast program is designed to give children special access to the Dodgers while providing them with valuable early broadcast experience. You can listen to free broadcasts at Dodgers.com/Junior Dodgers. And today, 11-year-old Jonathan Max will join Anthony Aldapa and David Gottlieb. That's a strike to Casey Blake, who walked and grounded to third. Casey hitting .271, 6 home runs, 25 runs batted in, another strike. 0-2. Rick Porcello, outstanding young pitcher, has been physically hammered today 3 times. That pitch kind of ate up Gerald Laird. 1-2 the count. And popped up left side, foul ground. Brandon Inge. 2 down. Remember the trivia question? The fact that Sparky Anderson, one of 2 managers ever to win a World Series in both leagues. Who's the other? And you're right on the money if you said Tony La Russa with the A's and Cardinals. Sparky, of course, won with the Reds and with Detroit. When Detroit won in 1984 and we were broadcasting the World Series and the Tigers won at home, that was one of the scariest days we have ever spent as Garrett Anderson singles to left field. I mean, it's one thing to win a World Series, but there was a large group of people in Detroit who went wild, turning over buses and cars. I remember seeing the police, 200 in lockstep, shields, truncheons, plastic masks, walking toward Tiger Stadium. Scary stuff. They tore up the infield. They had big clumps of infield grass, and they were throwing it up towards the broadcasting booths after the game. And I wondered what caused them to do that. I didn't know that the late Jack Buck, God rest his soul, was in the radio booth with a glove on, encouraging the people to throw the grass and dirt. And Joe Garagiola and I were doing the game, and a big clump of dirt landed on Joe's balding head, and he was furious, and he stormed out of the booth, and I still had to read about a minute and a half copy about this broadcast was brought to you by and blah, blah, blah. But all the dirt and clods were flying into the booth. So the last minute and a half of that final broadcast of the '84 World Series, I was flat on my back under the counter reading it while the fans were throwing the dirt up there. Yeah. Yes, Sparky, I remember '84. Indeed, I do. 2 out, Anderson at first. Blake DeWitt grounded to second and slashed one off the leg of Rick Porcello. He's 1 for 2. And grounds one into right field. Anderson takes one look at the right fielder and holds on. Ordonez is all set to pull the trigger. So, of course, that is a little bit of a problem if you have the veteran like Garrett Anderson representing the tying run at second base. He'll be tough to get home on a base hit. Well, Jamie Carroll is coming up, and down in the Dodger dugout, loosening up Manny Ramirez. And now let's see Rick Knapp out to the mound, the pitching coach. Down in the bullpen for Detroit, Brad Thomas, the left-hander, Eddie Bonine, the right-hander. We saw them both Friday night. And in the Dodger bullpen, Jeff Weaver. So with 2 out, 2 singles, and the batter Carroll, who has grounded out, single to right, and there's Manny running in place, getting ready. So for Jamie Carroll, a big at-bat here. 3 runs, 6 hits for the Tigers, 2 runs, 8 hits for the Dodgers. And that's a strike. Though Porcello, who had fallen behind 14 of the 21 hitters with that first pitch, gets Carroll 0-1. Anderson, the tying run at second. DeWitt at first, and a ground ball to the hole, backhanded on the grass. The throw to third, not in time. And the bases are loaded for guess who? Ramon Santiago makes a good play, could not get the force, and wait till the crowd sees Manny. Now they see him, now you hear them. Porcello is standing out there surrounded by Dodgers, trying desperately to hold on to a 1-run lead. He has given up 3 consecutive singles with 2 out. And with the bases loaded, Torrey plays his trump card. Manny Ramirez hitting .333, 2 home runs, 21 runs batted in. Manny is 1 for 3 as a pinch hitter this year, with a home run and 2 runs batted in. And of course this crowd now is going wild. Anderson, DeWitt, and Carroll are out there. And a little ground ball to third, the throw over to first, and you talk about the air coming out of the balloon. No runs, 3 hits, 3 left. At the end of 6, 3-2 Detroit.
Dodger Baseball on Prime Ticket is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Try Jack's new grilled breakfast sandwich on grilled artisan bread with a cup of the new Kona Classic coffee. And by your Southern California Ford dealers, where you'll find the new Transit Connect. Check it out at scforddealers.com.
3-2 in favor of the Tigers in the seventh inning. It should be duly noted that the ovation for Manny Ramirez lasted longer than Manny's at-bat. But Viva Los Dodgers, and the spirit is still in the air with Hispanic music as we move on to the next notch in the seventh. Danny Worth, then Rick Porcello, who's made 101 pitches, and then Johnny Damon. So Jeff Weaver picks up for Hiroki Kuroda. 3 runs, 6 hits for the Tigers. 2 runs, 9 hits for the Dodgers. Dodgers have had 8 hits in the last 3 innings. And that's ball 1 to Danny Worth, who has singled to right and singled to center. Danny from Northridge putting on a little bit of a show, takes away. 2-0 the count. Danny 6'1", 180. He'll be 25 the end of September. Went to school at Pepperdine. Second round pick just 3 years ago. And ball 3. So Jeff Weaver falls behind 3-0. Danny Worth is 5 for 12 in the series. And a strike. 3-1. Danny just came up, really. Purchased his contract from Toledo. And he came up to play against Boston. And ground ball to short. Jamie Carroll. 1 away. So Hiroki Kuroda went 6 innings, allowed 3 runs, and that will do it for Porcello. He was in the on-deck circle, but having made 101 pitches, they will take him out, and Ryan Rayburn will be coming up. So Rayburn, who's from Tampa, will bat for Porcello. Rick went 101, met a huge challenge head on, to his credit, in a foreign ballpark, bases loaded, 2 out. The big guy on the other team coming up, the crowd going bananas, and Porcello got Manny Ramirez to ground into a force play on the first pitch. So here Rayburn hits for him. Ball 1. Rayburn, drafted by Detroit 2001. He was drafted by the Devil Rays, but opted to go to the University of Florida. Then he transferred to community college and slices one to right. Xavier Paul makes that catch. So 2 out here in the 7th. And the batter, Johnny Damon. So Weaver. Show you how the baseball fortunes go. In 2005, the Tigers were here. The Dodgers beat them 2 out of 3, and the winner in the last game of that series was Jeff Weaver. And a high fly ball to right. On the horse is Xavier Paul to make the play. So the Tigers go 1, 2, 3 for the first time today. Porcello
attention, please. Now pitching for the Tigers, number 45, Ryan Perry. Hitting off the bottom of the seventh for the Dodgers.
In the fifth, but now after Porcello had allowed 8 hits in 3 innings, they lift him for the hitter, and now here's Ryan Perry. And he works a strike to Russell Martin, then Xavier Paul, and Matt Kemp. Martin single to center, lined out to second, and walked. And a strike, 0-2. Body language tells you he's not happy on that call. Ryan Perry, 6'4", 200-pounder, lives over in Arizona, went to the University of Arizona. 0-2. Boy, he let that thing fly. He's clocked up to 98, and that thing was 96. 4-seamer, 2-seamer, power slider. So they got a couple of flamethrowers coming out of that Tiger bullpen. Of course, Joe Zamaya, he hits 100 regularly. So Perry on that recent pitch really let that thing fly. 2-2. Foul back. Last year, left-handers hit .294 with 4 home runs against Ryan Perry, but right-handers hit only .206. Two and two. Breaking ball just missed with the slider. Perry, 3 years ago, his sophomore year at Arizona, was in a motorcycle accident and broke his left arm. Fortunately for that. And a fly ball to center. Going back on the ball is Johnny Damon to pick it off. Nice play. So a long out to center, 1 away in the 7th. Xavier Paul in a huge situation in the 5th inning. Bases loaded, 2 out, Dodgers trailing 3-0, and he's single to left to drive in 2 to get the Dodgers close. Xavier Paul has struck out, single twice, 2 for 3. Right fielder hitting .333. And first ball swinging, a fly ball to Brennan Bosch. 2 down. And the batter will be Matt Kemp. Matt Kemp lined one back at the glove of Rick Porcello in the 1st inning. Single to center in the 4th. And had a long out in the 5th. Run down by Johnny Damon. Half swing, they look, swing, says Paul Maurer. 0-1 to Matt. Ryan Perry has 8 holes. They try to get the ball to the closer, Zamaya. Foul tipped, 0-2. Jose Valverde has 11 saves. We're in the 7th, 1 out, 3-2 Detroit off the plate. 1-2. Kemp at the plate, Loney on deck. 1-2. 2-2. Sliders at 87, so he throws everything hard. Ryan Perry. That motorcycle accident when he broke his left arm, he says, changed his life completely. Sitting in the hospital wondering if I'd ever be able to throw a ball again. Well, he can. Fastball hits 95. 3-2 the count. I mean, 94 on the gun takes care of Kemp. Dodgers go 1-2-3, and at the end of 7, 3-2 Detroit. Run, and it was 3-0. But Xavier Paul got a clutch base hit in the 5th to drive in 2, and that's basically it. 3-2 in favor of the Tigers. Rick Porcello made 101 pitches, 6 innings, 2 runs, 9 hits. Hiroki Kuroda made 88 pitches in 6 innings, gave up the 3 runs. And now Ronald Belisario will be facing Santiago, Ordonez, and Cabrera. Strike. Santiago is sacrificed, grounded out, and single to right. One ball and 1 strike. Rick Porcello making 101 pitches. He'd made 100 or more 3 times. 102, 108 against the White Sox last time out, 101 today. Santiago hitting 266. He's handled everything hit his way at shortstop. 1-2. Foul tipped, held by Martin. Down he goes. So Santiago strikes out. That will bring up Maglio Ordonez. You know, a reminder, the Dodgers honor their starting outfield a series of collectible toys. Thursday, June 3rd, the first 15,000 kids receive a Matt Kemp action figure, compliments of the California Table Grape Commission. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com or call 866-DODGERS. Ordonez singled, popped up, hit into a double play. The pop fly was that over-the-shoulder sit-down catch by Blake DeWitt. back in the third inning. 1 ball and no strikes. And a drive into the gap in left center field, deep to the stands, and it has cleared the wall. So Maglio Ordonez hits his 6th home run of the year, and that opens it up a little bit from 3-2, 4-2. And another ball that got out of here in a hurry. So Belisario gives up a home run. That would be, by the way, the first home run he's given up this year. Number 1. Or on Viva Los Dodgers Day, numero uno. And the batter now, Cabrera, and Miguel fouls it into the Dodger dugout. So Ordonez hits it out, adding yet another to that great career home run total. 4 runs, 7 hits for the Tigers, 3 runs, 9 hits for the Dodgers. 1-1. That was a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. Cabrera hitting .333, 10 home runs, 40 runs batted in, foul back. To look ahead when the Dodgers come up in the bottom of the 8th, Loney, Blake, and Anderson. Just off the plate. 2-2. Nice crowd on hand on this beautiful day. Paid attendance 46,053. 46,053. And a high fly ball straight away, somewhat shallow center. Kemp is there. 2 out in the 8th inning. And Brennan Bosch coming out.
Left field, number 26, Brennan Bosch.
Brennan grounded to short, struck out and walked. The big left fielder is 0 for 2. So if ever there was the field of dream, this would be it for Brennan. The boy from Santa Monica makes it to play at Dodger Stadium. Dodgers began the day, remember, tied with San Diego, 2.5 in front of the Giants. The Padres are leading the Mariners 3-1 in the 8th inning. That was young Matt Latos against Felix Hernandez. Both pitchers are out of there now. 1-0. Little roller, charging it, Blake to it. That'll be that. So Belisario, however, gives up his first home run of the year to a home run hitter, Maglio Ordonez, and the Tigers lead 4-3. It would be Maglio Ordonez on the right who just hit one out. And Miguel Cabrera who hit the 2-run home run in the first inning, put it all together. And the Tigers lead 4-2. Don Kelly is now in left field for Brennan Bosch. And the Dodgers now with Loney, Blake, and Anderson against hard-throwing Ryan Perry. And that's ball one. 1-0. Loney today grounded to second, hit into a force play, grounded to short. The force play was one of 3 shots. Actually, 2 of the 3 hit Porcello's body. One, fortunately for him, found his glove. 2-0 the count to Loney. I would imagine a well-deserved Rick Porcello goes back to the Tiger dressing room and stretches out on the table while they check. This game has kept him in stitches. Brandon Inge has an imprint of the ball hit by Ramirez Friday night. And Rick sure took a little bit of a pounding today, but thank goodness he's okay. 3-0 the count to Loney. In there. Tigers leave here and go to Seattle. Dodgers leave tomorrow and go to Chicago. Phil Koch, left-handed, gets up now in the Tiger bullpen. Foul back. Interesting story about the Dodgers and the Lakers. You know, Andre Ethier has that fractured finger. Stan Connie of the Dodgers called Gary Vitti of the Lakers because basketball players have a lot of hand injuries, finger injuries. And Gary Vitti gave the Dodgers some advice for Andre Ethier. And that's ball 4. Well, because of the new setup on Ethier's finger, he's actually starting to swing the bat. A little bit of soft toss. And they feel that his time now has changed as to just when he'll be able to come back. Well, that'd be a great story, wouldn't it? The Lakers help the Dodgers. Well, here's Casey Blake. Loney at first. 8th inning, 4-2 Detroit. And a little flare foul back into the stands. 0-1 the count. For Ryan Perry, he's allowed just 1 home run. Bring that up since Belisario came in and surrendered his first of the year. Plus the fact Casey Blake has a half a dozen home runs. 25 runs batted in. And drive to right. Ordonez 1 step in, 1 step back. That ball just started to take off. So Blake lines out to right. 1 down. And Garrett Anderson coming up. Anderson starts up. Now let's see. He turns around because Jim Leyland has gone out to the mound. He had Phil Koch and Jose Valverde. Koch's a left-hander, and with Garrett Anderson due up, let's see if he brings in the lefty. We do know that Ryan Perry gives way. 1 out and 1 on, and we'll be back. Phil Koch, a left-hander, brought in to face Garrett Anderson and Blake DeWitt. Koch last year, very tough on left-hand hitters, and obviously 3-0 this year, just as tough on everybody. Last year, left-handers hit 195 against him. Fastball, change, and slider. 6'1", 210. Phil is from Sonora, California. Went to San Joaquin Delta Junior College and was originally drafted by the Yankees. And that's promptly hit in the air to center, and it's going to drop in front of Damon. So Garrett Anderson goes 2 for 4 as he singles, and the Dodgers try to get something going here in the 8th inning with 1 out. Blake DeWitt, however, is going to be called away. So they let Garrett Anderson hit against the left-hander, and he singles. But they will go to the dugout. Reed Johnson has such great numbers, you would automatically wonder about him, but instead they're going to bring up Ronnie Belliard.
Your attention, please, for the Dodgers. Batter for DeWitt, number 3, Ronnie Belliard.
So Ronnie Belliard will bat against Phil Koch. Four to 2 in favor of Detroit, 8th inning. And Belliard coming off the bench. Rafael Belliard is one of the coaches, infield coach for the Tigers from the Dominican. I don't believe they're related. There's Rafael Belliard. You may remember he played a lot for the Braves. And a strike. I think the way the Dodgers figured it, and just guessing, if Reed Johnson went up to hit, they would have lifted Koch. 0-1. Tying runs aboard with 1 out. Dodgers left the bases loaded in the 6th inning, and now 2 on with 1 out in the 8th. There is Reed Johnson hanging out by the batting cage. Down and dirty. 1 ball and 1 strike. Jamie Carroll waiting on deck. So Ronnie Belliard hitting 293 with a home run and 5. Check his pinch hitting numbers. 3 for 12. And a little roller to the right side. They get 1, they get 2, and the Tigers are out of the jam. Nice bit of pitching for Phil Koch to get Belliard. And the Dodgers go down, and at the end of 8, Tigers 4, Dodgers 2. Cabrera hit his 10th home run of the year with a man aboard. And then in the 8th inning, Maglio Ordonez homered his 6th of the year. That accounted for 3 of the 4 runs, and they lead the Dodgers 4-2. Dodgers with 10 hits today. Ball 1. Dodger 10 hits, all singles. Brandon Inge flied to center, struck out, hit into a force play, 0 for 3, hitting .217. Right. Kuroda, Weaver, and Belisario. Porcello, Perry, and Koch for Detroit. 1-1. Ball 2. Ronnie Belliard, by the way, who batted for Blake DeWitt, stays in the game at second base. Ball 3. In struggling right now as Belisario tries to put him away. Brandon is 3 for 18 in the series. That's a strike. Ground foul outside. Still 3-2. Dodgers travel tomorrow and then will play 16 consecutive days, starting in Chicago and Colorado, coming home. And that's check swing, ball 4. Dodgers will come home, play Arizona, Atlanta, St. Louis, and the Angels. So a leadoff walk to Inge will bring up Gerald Laird. Flied to left, fouled out, struck out, 0 for 3. Rick Porcello, the pitcher of record for Detroit. Should he win, would even up his record of 4-4. Hiroki Kuroda, the pitcher of record for the Dodgers, as the loser, would be 5-2. Dodgers will have Carroll, Belisario, Spot, and Martin due up bottom of the 9th. Ground ball down to Belisario, who had a double play and now has to be settled with an out at first. Ronnie wanted a short hop and then shovel it and just couldn't do it. So we'll see just how important that is as Danny Worth coming up. Inge at second, 1 away, 9th inning, 4-2 Detroit. So Belliard having one of those days. Comes off the bench as a pinch hitter, hits into a double play, then a double play ground ball, and he can't cut it. 0-1 to Danny Worth. Dontrell Willis, who was a very good hitting pitcher when he was in the National League, apparently is still a very good hitter. He's out on deck. And there's a hopper into right field. They will stop Inge at third. The Worth comes up with his 3rd hit. Danny's had a big day. 1st and 3rd, 1 out, and Dontrell Willis coming up. Dontrell Willis started the first game as a batter. He had 2 very high fly balls to right field. He has 8 home runs and 35 runs batted in his career, and it's cause for a meeting as Martin goes out to talk to Belisarios. George Sherrill is up in the Dodger bullpen. So let's see. All eyes now on the Dodger dugout, and here comes Joe Torre. So this was part, I'm sure, of Jim Leyland to send up the left-hand hitter, and that will get Belisario out of there and bring in Sherrill. Now let's see. Dontrell Willis is going to be called back, and Leyland will go to his bench for somebody else. And while all that's going on, we'll be back. Saw Willis hit 2 fly balls to right field Friday night. So rather than have Belisario pitch to Willis, it now turns out to be George Sherrill pitching against Adam Everett. Remember, Austin Jackson is unavailable to the Tigers, the brilliant young center fielder who was hit yesterday afternoon by Ramon Troncoso. So Leyland minus a card to play. And there is Jackson dreaming about the next chance he can play, but it won't be today. That's for sure. Adam Everett out of Georgia went to the University of South Carolina. 0-1 the count. Adam is hitting less than 200. He has 2 runs batted in. He's been in 25 games, and this is his first appearance as a pinch hitter. 0-1 the count. You have to watch Inge, see if they're thinking about squeeze. Over at first, Danny Worth. Inge is not coming. 1 ball and 1 strike. They asked Adam Everett about his favorite Christmas gift. He said, I was about 11 and I got Bo Jackson tennis shoes. All right. Ball 2, 2-1. Everett looking down, checking with Gene Lamont. 2-1, that's a manager's count, so we'll see what happens here. An eye on Inge and Worth. And here's the squeeze. The bunt is down. The play has to be to first. How do you do? You knew 2-1. They were going to do something, and they squeeze in the run. So the Tigers now add and lead 5-2. So Jim Leyland, shy a man, is still able to come up with the run, and Everett does his job. Now the leadoff man, Johnny Damon, ball 1. In the inning, a walk to Inge, and then, of course, Ronnie Belliard unable to make the double play. That's the key to the whole inning. 2-0 the count. 5-2 Detroit. Ninth inning. Dodgers began the day tied with the Padres, but the Padres are winning big 8-1 in the eighth inning, and there's a line drive base hit. So here comes Worth to score. The throw cut off by Loney. It is 6-2 Detroit. So for want of a shoe, etc., etc. Remember? The nail, the shoe, the horse, the rider, the battle, the war.
Shortstop, number 39,
Well, it all
Ramon
started
Santiago.
with a ground ball double play that the Dodgers did not turn. And like a good ball club, the Tigers take the opportunity and cash it in. So Damon's second hit, run batted in. 2 runs come in. It's 6-2 Detroit. And here's Santiago batting right-handed now and pulls it foul. 0-1. Ramon sacrificed, grounded out, single to right, and struck out. 6 runs, 9 hits for the Tigers, 2 runs, 10 hits for the Dodgers. And it all began really with Dontrell Willis come out in the on-deck circle. Wow. 0-2. Ground hopper. Blake goes down to Belliard, and there's that elusive final out. Not before the Tigers get 2. And at the end of 8 1/2, Tigers 6, Dodgers 2. Inning for Detroit. 6 runs, 9 hits, and 1 error. For the Dodgers, 2 runs, 10 hits, and 1 error. Adam Everett, who squeezed in the run, takes over at shortstop. And Jose Valverde will now go into the lineup in Ramon Santiago's spot. Well, we've certainly seen a lot of Jose. He's from the Dominican, 6'4", a good 255. He was with the Diamondbacks, so 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Went to the Astros 8 and 9. And here he is with Detroit. He'll be 31 in July. Jamie Carroll will lead it off against him. And a strike. Jamie Carroll today grounded to short, single to right, single to short. 2 for 3. Oh and 1. And a slicing fly ball, curling foul, out of play. Oh and 2 the count. Valverde in November of last year filed for free agency and signed a 2-year deal with Detroit and an option for the 3rd. Ball 1. Boy, they have some fellows who can really hurry that ball to the plate. Ryan Perry, then Zamaya, now Valverde. Valverde, fastball, also a very good splitter and a slider as well as a change. And there goes Carroll. And looking at Valverde's numbers, 1-1. His earned run average is less than half a run. He has 11 saves. The opposition is hitting 117 against him. So he has been overpowering. So 1 away, and here's Reed Johnson. Johnson battling for Sherrill. The managers know each other's strengths and weaknesses. Torrey no doubt knew if he sent in Reed Johnson to hit against the left-hander, Koch would have come out and they would have brought in Valverde. So Joe probably figured, nope, I'll try Ronnie Belliard, and it didn't work. Johnson, a career 300 hitter against left-handers. One and one to count. And hit into right field, base hit. So Reed Johnson off the bench to get a 1-out single, and the batter will be Russell Martin. For Reed Johnson, that's his first hit as a pinch hitter. He was 0 for 5. And Russell Martin coming up. Russell Martin singled and lined out, walked and flied out. Though he's 1 for 3. And Big Valverde ready to pitch to him. Since the Dodgers know him, certainly from the National League, Martin 1 for 8 against Valverde in the past. Whoops, hello, ball 1. Tigers 6, Dodgers 2. Breaking ball in there. Slider, 1-1 to count. One out, one on. 6-2 Detroit. And squirted to the right side. Nice pick there for Danny Worth. The throw by Everett. Double play. So the Dodgers were unable to turn a double play in the 9th, and it cost them 2. And the Tigers turn a solid double play to turn it around. And as they did in 2005, they wind up salvaging 1 of 3. So in the last 6 meetings between the Tigers and the Dodgers have won 4 out of 6, but not today. 6 runs.